gone ahead and finished blocking out the overall shape of my hammerhead shark just by placing, moving, scaling, and rotating a whole series of cubes to start really establishing the overall feel of my hammerhead. And I'm loving it. I think I'm doing a really great job. The silhouette's looking exactly the way I wanted to. I'm very, very pleased. And now I'm ready to start mirroring these fins to start finalizing the finished blockout stage of the model itself. Whenever we do modeling, we want to model in complete passes. So I want to have a complete understanding of what this shape is going to look like before I advance on to the next stage. So getting these fins mirrored is an important part. Let's start with this front one. I have a little bit of a problem here that we need to resolve before we can successfully mirror this fin across the x-axis. And let me show you what that is. I'm in object mode, and with this front fin selected, the object pull down menu is going to give us access to our mirroring tools, and we're going to do the X global, and this is what we get, which is undesirable. Check it out. It's just kind of spinning. It's not moving the copy across the x-axis. It's just spinning right there in the center, which is not what I want. Well, why is it doing that? Let me show you why. It has everything to do with what's called the origin point for the object. With this object selected, this orange dot in the center represents the geometric center point, the origin point for the object. Now, this is different than the origin point of our scene. If I was to turn on my X and Y axes, the origin point for our scene, the dead center of our three-dimensional universe, is at the intersection of these two axes. So this origin point, this orange dot, is the center point for this object. Let's turn this off. Okay. So I need to move this center point to be at the origin of our three-dimensional scene, because when I fire off the mirroring tools, it's referencing the origin point of the object to determine how it's going to flip and turn that object. So I gotta change this. And luckily for us, Blender has some fantastic tools built into the system that will make changing the center point changing the origin point very, very easy. And if it all begins in the object pull down menu. And we have this entire category called set origin. Now, if you look very carefully, what we're looking for here is that we need to change the origin point to a predetermined location inside the scene. And the only option that we have right now that's going to work is origin to 3D cursor. We don't want the origin point of the object to go to the center of the geometry. That's kind of like what we have here. We want the origin point to go to our 3D cursor. Well, what in the world is our 3D cursor? Well, in Blender, this is our 3D cursor. This object right here is our 3D cursor, and we can move this cursor around. More on that later. Think of this 3D cursor as an interactive like location where things can be created and snapped. It's pretty neat, and they can definitely help in our 3D modeling process. And we're going to need to move this cursor to the origin of our three-dimensional scene, and it's really easy. The keyboard shortcut to do this is Shift-C. Here we go. Let's fire it off. Shift-C, and then voila, our cursor goes to the origin of our three-dimensional scene. Let's give it some confidence. Let's return our X and Y axis indicators on in the viewport. Yep, and we're happy campers. Now, if I go in and select my fin here, return to the object pull-down menu, set origin, we're going to move the origin of my fin to the 3D cursor. And there it is. The orange dot moved from the center of the geometry to the location of the cursor. And I bet you, if we mirror our geometry now, yep, I'm going to get the result that I want. Okay, so to finalize this, it's a two-step process. We're going to duplicate the fin and then mirror it. So let's do it real fast. We're going to do Shift-D to duplicate it, but I'm not going to move my cursor. I'm not going to do this, okay? Let's get rid of that for a second. Oops, hit undo too many times. This time, we're going to be a little bit more disciplined. Shift-D and then just click immediately. Don't move your mouse cursor, and then return to the object pull-down menu and mirror it. Now I have two. Let's do it one more time. I have this back fin in here as well. We're going to change the origin point for this object to the location of our 3D cursor. We'll duplicate the shape, click without moving our mouse, and then return to the object pull-down menu and choose Mirror X Global. And then voila, there we go. Now we have our completed block out for our hammerhead shark already done. And at this stage, I can take a step back, I can look at it, I can start to get a good sense and understanding of the silhouette, which is pretty cool. I like to orbit around the viewport, check out my sculpture from as many different angles as I can. I also like to come back a little bit, make sure it's working from a distance. Sometimes you get in so close so you don't get a real good solid understanding of how these shapes are looking in comparison to each other. So come out a little bit, get far away from it. Does it still work? I think this, the origin point and the cursor may be getting in the way. You can always go in and turn that stuff off. I'm not going to do it at the moment. If you get lost in your viewport, select one of the components, and here's a great little trick. If you hit the period key on your number pad, it's going to zoom into that object. That's a great way of navigating around your scene. And generally speaking, I'm pretty in love with this. This is going to be a cool sculpture, and I can't wait to start working with the sculpting tools to finalize the sculpture of my little hammerhead shark.